reinvesting back into the community. And to some extent, maybe we should. But we as men, I think we really got to come to a conclusion that some of us may not be able to come back because we may not be effective like Jesus. And in some cases, we need to go back like Nehemiah to go rebuild that wall and rebuild our hometown,
Yeah,
Any thoughts on that, Tanya? Go ahead, DK.
nah, just real quick. The more I think about it, wherever God calls you, that's where He calls you, right? So if we take it on a biblical note, right? Wherever God
Mm,
calls you to go, He calls you to go. So if He says go here and do this, and have nothing to do with that, then whether they disrespect you, put your name out there, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we gotta follow. You know what I mean? Follow the steps of God. So the steps of a good man is order, right? So if He orders you to go to Texas, then that's where you go. If He says, "Hey, you stay in Texas," that's where you stay. If He say go home, then you go home, no matter what's because people will have something to say no matter what. If you come back home, why he's still here? If you go away,
Amen.
why he ain't here? No matter what you do, they're gonna have something to say. So
mm.
My man.
That's a really good point, DK. We at the end of the day, I think that sometimes we make decisions that are God says, I want you to help people in America. He doesn't care if you live in Alaska, Hawaii, or Texas, right? And then sometimes God says specifically, I want you to live in Chicago, Illinois, and help America. And in many cases, we can probably reach back and help, what our people in our hometown or where we're from or our community or our culture. But in some cases, it may not be practical, like with Joseph. Joseph didn't have the ability to affect them. They had to come to him. Think about that, guys. In some situations, people got to probably come to you because they may need to take some steps to be able to work with the purpose that God has given you. I wanted to get your thoughts on this too, Tanya. How are you seeing this whole situation from a female perspective when you see men that are debating leaving or staying there in their communities and in their culture? Nothing heard from Tanya. What about you, Keisha? You're seeing men kind of go back and forth on this. And for women, it's not as easy to just leave the culture. Maybe it is. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I kind of agree with DK, and I was thinking about, Psalms 37. I know we're all familiar with, that God ordered our steps, but even before then, it says in Psalms 37:3, trust in the Lord and do good, then He will live safely in the land and prosper. It doesn't necessarily mean the land that you were born in. We all think about it like all this belongs to Christ, and if as Christians, we should submit ourselves to His way. So if that means like leaving where you're at and going to a new land, it's still a part of it's still a part of God's land, His home, His everything belongs to Him. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's the idea of community. For me myself, I left my hometown and went to Georgia to go away to school. And, it wasn't easy being a female, being down there by myself, but I had to adapt and adapted to the culture. I gained a tribe of people who I trusted like family. And I spent about 10 years down there. And then,
perfect.
I did come back home and I was able to use my gifts and talents to be who I am now. But I wouldn't be and wouldn't have all of those things if I wouldn't have left. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I could say, yes, I did take my knowledge to give back to my community, but I could see myself even in the future going back to Georgia. Does that mean I'm abandoning the community again? It might just mean that I'm expanding and doing whatever it is that God, is telling me to do next. So,
And this is a question for you too, Keisha.
yeah.
Do you think women have the same pressure as men do when it comes to selling out and leaving their communities?
I don't really know. I never even had this discussion with anybody before because I don't really think the term is sellout. I think if people are out for your best interest, they should be open minded that you are doing what's best for you and be
Hmm.
supportive of that. Um,
Really?
I see what you're saying with people who have like this extreme amount of money, and I don't really know anybody with this extreme amount of money personally to say if they're giving back to their community or not in clothes and secret. You never know what
Hmm.
somebody's doing.
So this
Um,
is so I want to reverse engineer that question for you guys on the panel. as men, have you ever felt that or even been told that you're selling out because you're not participating in something culturally?
Not at all.
Yeah, me
Never.
either. Yeah.
If you say if I want to go ahead and kick it with my Caucasian brothers, my Latino brothers, or my Asian brothers, they all brothers in Christ. So
Hmm.
what you telling me as being a black brother that you selling out with them? Okay, you know what? Well, if you telling me a seller, that means you have ill intent towards me. I'm gonna go ahead and cut you off. I don't need you.
Hmm. So DK, REJ never felt that they were being classified as a sellout when they're doing something extracurricular. What about you, Kaz and Ryan and Hanley?
I wish
I'll
someone
go
would
ahead
try
and
to
go first.
classify me as a sellout. I mean, I dare them to. I
Uh
mean,
oh.
Yeah.
as long as I'm right in the eyes of God and in my relationship with God, other people's opinions of what my move should be are not my concern.
Mm. Okay, Ryan, have
And
you
you know,
ever felt that? Go ahead, DK.
nah. And you know what? I think that leaving the community, right? As far as like, I don't think no one ever considers someone a sellout unless you're talking, of course, example that you give with, LeBron. But I think normally that's really never an issue, right? And it's only
Hmm.
an issue because of sports. But I think there's other things when it comes to leaving part of the culture. You know what I mean? I think that we'll talk about it later. Like you said earlier, if you're black, you gotta vote Democrat, and then if you vote Republican, then it's a problem. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
don't
those,
jump too soon. We're gonna talk about that a little bit
yeah,
later.
I know that's what I'm saying, but I think those are more. I don't think nobody has a problem with anybody leaving the community because I think that's the goal. Like the goal is, growing up is, hey, do what you got to do. Not just an athlete, but even a doctor or a lawyer. Hey, go to the big city. Go away to college. Become all you could be. Go to the best school, whatever. The best job. That's what
Hmm.
everybody wants for you. If it happens to be at home, it just happens to be at home. But if it's afar, nobody has a problem with that. They're going to miss you, but not going to call you a sellout because
Hmm.
you took a job at a Fortune 500 company in California.
Okay, so a better way of wording this maybe is: do you guys feel sometimes that people think that you're better than them?
I mean, they gonna feel that they gonna feel that even if you stay there. You know what I mean? So people, if they're judging, just depending what they're judging by. Oh, he makes 50,000. I only make 40. He think he's better than me. But people gonna think stuff like that anyway. So I don't even.
But Punch, I got something to say on that. So
Mhm.
uh, so somebody think I'm better than them. It's a thing called you have bad self esteem.
Oh,
I shouldn't feel a bad way about your self esteem itself, not Rob's.
so you saying it's their problem, not yours?
Exactly.
Hmm. Have you ever been Have you ever been confronted with someone saying that you're better than them, REJ?
Military life, yes.
I can tell you, and make sure you guys mute your headphones. Every day you make me feel like you're better than me. How do you feel about that?
Come on, man. I know you better than that.
But that being the case, we do know because some I don't think people are just calling folks sellouts to their face in the black community. But I do think that there are times in not only the black community but others where people feel that this guy he went to college, this dude got a brand new car, he thinks he's better than me. Why can't he? How does he? Why does he think that way? Like same thing with Jesus, right? Or with Joseph. When before he got kicked out of his family, so to speak. Do we is there more of a pressure and more of a comparison where people think that we're better than them because we may have done something or not done something? What are your thoughts on that,
And
Kaz?
plus,
And then we'll throw it back to Ryan because Ryan didn't get a chance to answer. And we also got a
Oh,
comment from Tanya we're going to get to.
I was just gonna say you said a key word, and that's comparison. Um, and even going back to LeBron, when you think about how people view LeBron, it was kind of like he was the next big thing. He was like Kobe. Kobe stayed with LA his whole career. And I'm
Mm,
pretty sure the expectancy was for LeBron to do what Kobe did for LA and Cleveland.
mm,
And I feel not that I feel, I know that often when you compare to someone else, it's a feeling of inadequacy that you have in yourself.
mm,
And it may be that either you believe that you're incapable of obtaining the things that that person has obtained for themselves or that God has blessed them with. And so you looking within yourself, you say, well, oh, they must think they're better than me, and try to cause an offense so that you can be mad at them. But the reality is no offense was actually given to you. You created it out of that feeling of lack within yourself, that inadequacy within